Welcome to the Align for Success podcast. I am Deborah Deras, international speaker, author, mindset, marketing, and manifestation coach, and your hostess with the mostest, here with another amazing episode. We are back on at 11:11 because we are one with the one with the one in alignment. What does alignment mean? It means we're in the flow, baby. We're like the waves of the ocean, just one with the water. We are not separate from the whole. And this podcast is intended to help you with the inner work for the outer results. Because when I think about success, it may be different than other people's thought of success. I don't think a big house or a nice car, the dream job. What I define success as whatever your core values are. So for me, it's inner peace, it's freedom, it's joy. To me, that's success. When I could go to bed at night feeling peace, that's success. When I could wake up in the morning feeling gratitude for being awake, alive, and aligned. And that's my intention for you because at the end of the day, we don't take any of our material possessions with us. But if people can say, wow, that person lived a great life, they were full of life, full of joy, full of transformation. And that's what today's show is all about. I'm super excited for today's guest because when I think of inspiration, when I think of hope, when I think someone that's making a difference in the world, it is her. But before I bring her on, I have several announcements to make. Number one, did you know that I have a free Align for Success video training for you? It's a gift. Everybody gets a video. It's my Oprah moment, Deborah moment. So I created this video and I forgot to even tell you about it. It is on my website, which is, by the way, my name. You know my name. It is deborahderas.com. If I ever remarry, he's got to be .com. deborahderas.com. So if you go to my website and just type deborahderas.com, you will see the Align for Success video. And you will also see, if you click on events, lots going on. I do webinars on marketing. I do live events on mindset and manifestation and virtual events, and you're invited. So join me, deborahderas.com/events. And in other big news, we now have a sponsor for the Align for Success podcast. It is Otter PR. Would you like to be on podcasts? Would you like to speak and get out there in major publications? Well, guess what? You can, my friend, because Otter PR will pitch you. And they will also do your LinkedIn. They will do your Instagram. They will do your copywriting. They're going to rewrite my website. They're going to synergize my life. I just hired them. Why? Because they're the best. And they don't have any contracts and they're reasonably priced. So if you're interested in signing up with them, I will put the link in the show notes and you can get your message out there because I sincerely believe that you are a messenger for a very important message. And guess what? People need to hear you. In other news, we are now on Apple and Spotify, also Google Podcasts. You can find us by searching, write this down, Align for Success TV. Add TV to it, and you'll find us. If you prefer to whistle while you work and listen to podcasts. All right. So I am going to introduce a very, very special guest today. She's not only my friend, my amiga, my sister, my purple familia, but she is also an amazing transformational woman that's going to rock your world. On most days, you can find Danielle on Skid Row, engaging and encouraging people with much needed resources. Danielle's passion for people has inspired her to pursue her MSW at USC. Oh my God, I didn't know you go to USC. That's my favorite school. I want to be a Trojan. Oh my God, that's so exciting. Her goal is to become a licensed clinician where she will help people heal, change mindsets, determine their needs, and develop solutions. She's so awesome. Danielle also loves music and is an avid Prince fam. Yes, girl, yes. She believes that music creates the most unlikeliest of friends. Please help me welcome my girl and what I believe to be an earth angel, Danielle Gaskins. Did you like that?
I loved it. That was awesome.
Girl, I
That
didn't know
was
you were going to
awesome.
USC.
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
think it clicked to me. Trojan, can we go
Yes.
to a football game?
All right. Well, I went to undergrad at UCLA, so I'm also a Bruin. So
Oh, but my friend Melly, she's both. Yeah, you can
yes,
be bi.
yes.
You can be bi. I don't know what to call it.
Bicollegiate.
Bi-collegiate, yeah. You could be Bruin Trojan, but if you
Uh-huh.
ever need a friend to go to a football game, I'm with you, friend.
Okay, I got you.
So, I mean, I have been so looking forward to interviewing you. I mean, ever since I met you, I knew just I could feel it that you are a beautiful light in this world and just getting to spend some quality time together. Who would think a
Hmm.
pandemic would bring us even closer together?
Right.
And we were actually more social than ever before.
Hmm. Hmm.
Living our best lives and but I mean, people look on the outside and they see, a beautiful, brilliant woman, but they may not know your backstory and all the pain that brought you to your purpose. Can you
Hmm.
talk a little bit about your story? Because I think it's so inspirational.
Well, thank you for that outstanding, amazing introduction. Um, yeah, so I was conceived in scandal. I had my mom was a teenager at the time, and she's white. She still is white, and her obviously my dad was black, and that was not okay for a few reasons because he's black because she was very young. So she was sent to a home for unwed mothers in Alaska, which is why I was born in
Wow.
Alaska. And then I found this information out later. Um, and she gave birth to me. She put me up for adoption. And then there was another young black couple who was stationed there because my dad was in the Air Force. And my mom, my adopted mom, was not able to have children. She was delivering stillborn twins like two different times. It was so sad when she told me the story. They adopted me. And so they brought me into their home, and we lived in Alaska for about 2 years. And then they adopted my brother from a similar situation, different set of parents. And then I would say at about that time, I found this out later on doing work on myself, something called EMDR, which helped me to go back and figure out the roots of some of my issues and concerns.
Oh,
When my mom brought my brother home, there was a disconnect between she and I because she really wanted to have babies, and I was at that point walking and talking, and so I was able to identify that later in life as to be like the root of like some rejection, some secondary rejection from the rejection in the womb that I experienced from my biological mom.
wow.
So we moved around a lot. We lived in all the different not cool states of the country. We didn't get to go to Hawaii or anything like that. We lived in like San Antonio, Texas, San Angelo, Texas, all the racist places.
Oh my God.
No offense to anyone from San Antonio or San Angelo. So I spent my earlier years bouncing around, moving around a lot, being the new kid in school. When I was 8, my mom had my miracle baby sister. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm happy she's here, but it kind of, at age 8 was when I found out I was adopted. At age 8,
Mm,
um, my mom, that disconnect just got deeper because now she had her baby. That was my perspective.
right.
And it still is my perspective, but we've grown and healed from that. So lots of moving around, lots of not fitting in, um, lots of receiving information and filtering it in a way that from that perspective, um, that I didn't fit in, that I wasn't wanted, but I wasn't aware of that. I would say my dad left. We moved back to Alaska when I was in junior high, and my dad retired suddenly, not sure why. And then we moved back to California, still bouncing around, trying to get our bearings, living with family members. We lived in our car when I was 15. We lived in a little, it was crazy. And, my parents were doing the best that they could with what they knew. And they just weren't really able to protect us from their own emotional issues that they were having. So I would say sometime around 14 or 15, that's sort of when I started to look outside for for relief, I guess you could say. So about 14 or 15, that's when I started to get involved with boys. That's when I tried, drinking for the first time. I tried smoking for the first time. And it kind of took a while before all that stuff kicked in. We lived in LA for a while, and there was a lot of issues there. And my parents found out at the end of senior year end of junior year, that I didn't really go to school the whole year. My mom was out of town because she was having medical issues. She was gone a lot. My dad was gone a lot. And so, I didn't go to school a lot. So we moved to the Bay Area. My dad got a job up there. And I spent the next 15 or so years. I really came of age in the Bay. That's why I'm so connected with all of my people in the Bay Area. I love it. Love it there.
I love it there too.
If I could afford it, I'd move back. Yeah. So it's just without getting too detailed, there's just a lot of years of just trying to get my bearings. I would emulate what other successful people were doing. I could go get the greatest job. I could, even if I wasn't, qualified for the job, learn the job, but just bounced. I just wasn't stable, moving around a lot. And I would say in my 20s is when I started to really go out and do the clubbing thing, and lots of binge drinking. And I would say fast forward 10 years later, I was really the only one out of my friends that was still doing that. And so I like to talk to people about, when they have a hard time understanding alcoholism or addiction. A lot of times, the first time that you pick up, you smoke a cigarette, or you try to smoke a joint, or you have a cocktail, you have no idea where that's going to take you. You have no idea. You're just having a drink with your friends. And some people are able to do that and live their lives, and some people are not. And I was one of those people that, I had the propensity for addiction. And so it took my life in a completely different direction. When I was 29, I got married. So I met my husband in high school. We were together 12 years. We had our son. We got married sometime around there. My poo-poo nunu. And we moved back because my ex-husband was so we're divorced. He's in the music industry. And so he wanted to come to LA. So I'm like, come to LA. We could live with my family. This is where I'm originally from. And it was I would say it was difficult. My pregnancy was okay, but the postpartum depression that I suffered, that I didn't really realize I was suffering from that, really affected me in such a major way. It was hard, and I didn't know why it was hard, and I just blamed myself. That's why I only have one, because it was so hard, And so I would say that the depression, I was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was 17. And I say misdiagnosed because I walked in that diagnosis for many years, and to where the symptoms appeared. I had symptoms. I took all the meds. And I would say about 6 years ago, around the time that I got sober, the last time, I just felt pulled away from taking the meds. And I worked with the doctor. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm sure. And, I haven't been on any medication or anything like that. I don't think I had it. I think that it was like a environmental depression, that I was suffering from. Right. So my life began to take shape of of doing well, doing great, and then falling. And I'd go to school, I'd get a degree, I'd relapse, I'd end up in sober living, detoxes, psych wards, rehabs, all of that, for I'd say a good portion of my son's early years. Um, and I don't know. I would say that what finally ended me up where I'm at today, because I've been sober, I've had 5 years, I've had 3 years, was hey, I gotta say it's God. I always had an understanding of God, but it was when Christ Jesus, he snatched me up. He was like, "Come on, child, come on, daughter." Um, and I don't want to go on too long. In between all that stuff, all the addiction and all the depression and all that, there were wonderful times. Like my son, like his dad and I, we had a lot of fun, and we grew up together. Basically, we were just kids when we got together. We have a good relationship now. He's moved on, has a family, and I'm happy for them. Um, yeah, I found my biological mom, so
Oh, wow.
that brought me a lot. Actually, my job found her, because I work for the Salvation Army, and I found out that she had me in the Salvation Army.
Oh my God. But
Crazy.
when did you find your mom?
2018. So I found my mom about a month after I lost my dad who raised me. No, 2 weeks after, actually.
Oh,
Salvation Army connected us. They have a missing persons department. Can you
I
believe
bet
that?
you your angel dad brought your mom to you.
Hmm.
Ooh, I get chills when I say that. Like he
Mm.
orchestrated that so
Yeah.
you could feel the love,
But
right?
there was a lot of closure. Like I had a lot of closure when my dad was on his deathbed. Like God
Mm,
downloaded to me, this man did the best that he could. It
right,
wasn't, oh, you're my dad, you're supposed to be this way. He was a man with his own stuff, with his own issues and his own dreams and all of that. So I got that blessing. No more blaming, no more I'm this way because my daddy, blah, blah, blah. None of that. That just went away like that. And then I found my mom, and all of a sudden, all of those, I had that closure of not being wanted, and being rejected or feeling abandoned. Like that settled down. Didn't go away,
right.
but it was able to settle down. And so I have a decent relationship with her. My siblings, though, it's like we've always been together. It's amazing.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
so beautiful. You mentioned something that kind of perked my interest because, the Align for Success podcast is all about the inner work for the outer
Yes.
results. And you
Yes.
said that you had done EMDR. Can you talk
Yes.
to us about
Mm.
what that is and how that could be a tool for healing for people?
So EMDR, I'm not going to try to remember what it stands for. Movement, something, I forget. So I did it when I was in treatment. Actually, I went to a facility that it was all fancy on the beach in Newport. But it was specifically for women who have had trauma, who also had substance use disorder. And we did the EMDR, and it's basically for people who have trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder. They started it with vets,
Oh,
and it has you separate the emotion from the trauma, so
mm,
you can remember the trauma, you can remember the event, you can even talk about it, but that emotion, that crippling fear, that crippling, whatever your response is when you remember it, is severed.
mm,
And so I did that. I did a few different, I did it. You have to pick something that you want to work on. And
right.
so I can't even remember the topic of what we chose to work on, but whatever it was, it took me back to when I was 2 years old, when and I was able to, my mom is in a home right now, and she has short-term memory loss, but her long-term memory loss is on point.
Ah,
So, all kinds, I'm like, "Mom, do you remember this? You know how that made me feel?" My mom is like, "Yeah, I remember." It's like, it's so healing. But I described
wow.
to a T the day that she brought my brother into the car, what she was wearing, where I was sitting, that I described everything to her, and she
Wow.
verified all of that. And that memory came back to me from EMDR. And there's a lot in that. There's a lot of because we always want to go back to when we were young to say, oh, this is where's the root of why I'm acting this way, of this character flaw, this character defect, this fear or whatever. And a lot of my stuff goes back to that day.
Oh, so interesting.
Yeah, EMDR is brilliant. EMDR is what inspired me to want to be a professional and go into the field and try to help people that way from the inside out.
So can you now, or when you get your degree, do EMDR?
Oh yeah, you can. Once I get my degree, once I get licensed, then I can take the courses and do EMDR. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna hire you. I looked it up what it is. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Yes.
Fancy.
Yes. It's interesting. I would get into it to describe how it works, but I won't, but because it takes a while, but it definitely helped open up some, expose me to a deeper level of what's going on and how to get to the root of it, how to excavate that root.
And I think it's really powerful because, trauma is something that it is so deep and it's subconscious. It's not like you could just snap out of it.
Yes.
And that's why it's so great, because you can be so empathetic and compassionate with the people you work with, the Salvation Army. But let's rewind back to that moment that God saved you, because I think I was watching this show on TV about broken pieces, a million pieces, and like how many times it takes to get sober. And it's like never the first time, and it's always a series. But you had this experience where you said that God lifted you. Tell us about that.
Okay, so it was 2015. I was managing this sober living, and there was a woman that was there. And at this time, I wasn't under a church. I was reading my Jesus Calling. I was doing Buddhist chants, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I was doing all of it. I was seeking. I was all over the place. But I know that
I used to do that too. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
I was all into it. I was trying to figure it out. So there was this woman. So I was very spiritually in tuned. Okay. We could talk about this at another. There were so many like supernatural things that I was being aware of at that time. So this woman that lived there with us came in and asked me to help her with something. And what I needed to help her with was cause I would have had to be sort of firm with her. And so when I engaged with her and everything went well, she left. I all of a sudden was overwhelmed with this love that I had never felt before for anyone. I'm like, what is this?
Whoa.
I was overwhelmed with love to where I fell to my knees. My son would say, Mommy, remember when you found Jesus on the stairs? I fall to my knees on these stairs in this apartment, and I just start crying. And I'm like, oh my God, you love me. You love me. You love me. It just was coming out. You love me. Thank you. Thank you. Just crying. And I saw three beings, not in person, but in my mind's eye.
You're giving me chills.
One in the middle that was bigger than the other two. And they were just light, kind of in the shape of a person, just light. And he said to me, you know how you love your children? That's how much I love you. But by you, not just me, all of us, so many more times more. Like it was how I love you, how you love your children. That's how much I love you, but so many more times more. And so I just cried. It was like 15 minutes where this light, and I just felt enveloped, and I'd never felt love like that before. And it was so tangible. And to where when I finally was shutting it down, because I didn't want anyone to come in and find me in this position like this. I get up, I was never the same. I went to an AA meeting after that and made the mistake of sharing that about Jesus.
They were not ready. They were like,
no, but my life was never the same. Now I did have a relapse after that. I did, but I felt his love. I felt his hand on me that kept me safe during that time. And during that time is when I lived in downtown LA. And that's when I had all the exposure to the people that I would later help. And so I literally so fast forward, I ended up following a boy into a church. The church ended up being the Salvation Army. And I just never left. And slowly he started to rebuild my life. He kept my connection with my son. We have a wonderful relationship. He loves me. He forgives me. He's happy to have his mom back. The
Oh,
Salvation Army, they offered me a job. They offered me to be the worship leader. Then the next job they offered me, then the next job, and they found my mom. So God is has used the Salvation Army as a way to stabilize me and to reconnect me. And I know that the obsession to use has been removed. It has
oh my God,
been
that's fantastic.
absolutely. I have friends that would be nervous to invite me to places because they drink, and it doesn't affect me. I'm high on life. I'm grateful. I have so much hope, and it dawned on me recently that, did I choose all that? I mean, I know I chose it
Right,
in the natural, but
right.
did my soul somehow choose that direction so
Mm,
that I could get the information and do the research
right.
that I need to do what I do now? Because there's no way I would be doing what I'm doing now without that experience. Some people could say, "Oh, I want to go," and I'm not a do-gooder like that. Like, this
You
is
wouldn't have the compassion, the empathy, the
no.
awareness.
No, I would not be on Skid Row if I wasn't literally down there and
Wow.
got this blessing to know that no matter how low you go, no matter how disconnected you become, like, God loves you.
Hmm.
God loves you. I do like low key praying for people, like, Lord, lift them up. I'm lifting them up to you. I don't know if anybody's praying for this person, God, but I'm praying for him right now. Let's shine a light on him, bring him
Right.
to the end of himself. You know his issues and his concerns. Let's get him cleaned up. And I just keep going because I realize I can't help everyone. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I know my story sounds like, oh, she was strung out. It was so depressing. And of course, there was beautiful things that happened in between. But I feel like it's important for me to share that pain, like you said, because that pain is why I'm not pain free now,
Right.
right? But I can walk through it. I know I can walk through it. I don't have to like give up because it hurts,
Right.
right? We can do hard things. When things are uncomfortable, that's okay. I used to give up before I get to the other side.
Mhm.
The first couple of times I pushed through, I'm like, wow, it's great over here. This is where the blessings at. I always quit
Oh.
before I get to the blessings,
Oh.
right? And
Yeah,
so
instead
that's
of
what
going around, you go through.
yes, yes,
Right. Wow, that is
yeah.
so beautiful. Your story, like I just want to like cry with not sadness, but with like
Mm,
just joy, just to feel. Because I'll tell you one day my Jesus experience. Maybe I did already, but it was just a beautiful visitation I had that when I was really sick. And I was
mm.
like literally like take me or heal me, and then he came to my I would have cleaned up my living room if I knew Jesus was gonna come to my door. I was like, "Oh my god, if I knew you were gonna come, I would have dusted." I didn't know you did house calls. But, and I was like, within, like, a few months of the visitation, this, like, autoimmune skin condition I had was gone completely,
Mhm.
and doctors were diagnosing me with fibromyalgia, lupus, all this stuff, and it was just healed. So I know the power of that, and it
Yes.
just I absolutely believe that, like what you said, that we have a soul's contract, and that yes, you did choose the mom that you chose. You choose the experience you choose because your contract was to be like I call you an earth angel and a light worker, an angel of transformation on this planet. And you're having all of these painful experiences of not fitting in, of addiction allows you to be in a position to help and heal at an even higher and more expanded
Mm,
way.
mhm, mhm.
It aligned you for success.
It did. It did. And as you were saying that, I was just thinking about how, even despite myself,
Yes.
even like we talked about earlier, like, you don't have to, you just let the spirit shine through.
Mm,
Even despite my own idiosyncrasies, my shortcomings and all of that, before I go to work, and I try to apply this not just at work, because I don't want to just be a 9 to 5 like God worker, right? I want to do it all the time.
24/7.
Right. And so I just say, Lord, show me who I might help. And when
Oh,
I say that prayer, when I
ooh,
engage with someone who's not lovable, because the Bible says that we're supposed to love the unlovable. It's easy to love people that are listening to us and are nice to
right.
us. But
Right.
the people that are ornery and difficult and not lovable, those people, if I don't pray first, I get in my flesh and I'm like, you're not going to talk to me like that. Right.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
if I have the Lord come first, if I have, listen, Holy Spirit, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm gonna get over here in the passenger seat. And then it's like I'm blind to all that stuff. So even despite we're always our own worst critic. I'm my own worst critic,
Yeah.
constantly trying to redirect and correct myself. And I know that if God shows me something to work on, I feel like that's good because then He knows I'm ready to work on it. It's not
Exactly.
condemning. It's not to make me feel bad. It's like, oh, okay, it feels like I'm ready to deal with this now. So yeah, I have to keep God in the picture and I'd be okay.
I love it. And that's something, I mean, here at Align for Success, we don't often use the G word, but I think it's necessary because, I mean,
It's part
God
of
is
my
not rich.
story.
Yeah, let's say it.
Yeah.
When I was in not corporate America, but government, we couldn't say things like, oh God, or
Right.
Christmas or this. And
Right.
it's so freeing and liberating to be able to say it, but I'm still like, can I say it? Yes, you can. So I just want to let people know that they can stay in touch with you at Danielle at brave_new girl 319, because there's going to be a lot of exciting developments in Danielle's path as she grows as a light worker in this world. And you want to definitely follow her and be inspired by her light. Anything else you want to say? Final words before we close?
I just want to say that when we met, I knew that there was something more than just a casual meeting when we met.
You're
I knew
right.
it. Like, I don't just go hang out with people that I haven't met in real life. And I did that
Ah,
with you. We met,
right.
remember when I came to see you and we ate and hung out. And I just know that you're a very special person and you're doing some amazing work. It's just only going to get brighter and brighter and be seen by more.
Yes, I knew it too. I knew it too. It's just, and it's like that God divine appointment, right? That
Yes.
synchronistically we met. And this is the thing with everyone. One of my favorite shows in closing was the show Joan of Arcadia. Did you ever watch that show?
I've heard of it, but I never watched it.
So that show would say God, like Joan of Arc, God is in everyone. So, and they would show someone that was like that was homeless without a home, by the trash can, and he would be God speaking to Joan, giving her a
Mm,
divine assignment. So
mm,
I just think that, you and I are both living our divine assignment, and
yes.
our invitation to everyone listening is to take on your divine assignment. That's it. That's what Align for Success is to say yes to that inner voice, that is spirit that we believe is God, to allow your soul's contract to unfold.
Mhm.
Because when you do that, then you're going to be on purpose, have a joy, not a job, just like Danielle. Yeah. So I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
It went by
you.
so fast. Oh my goodness. And thank all of you. Please follow Danielle and stay connected with her. You're going to see a lot of amazing things. And I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to another great episode of the Align for Success podcast. Really, really appreciate you. Remember to download your free video on how to align for success. You could just go to deborahderas.com. If you want to see our upcoming events, you could just click events, have live events. We have virtual events. I'm doing a virtual vision board play shop January 29th and 1 o'clock via Zoom. I'm also doing a lot of live webinars on marketing. Would love to see you at one of them. And remember, with the power of synergy, anything is possible.